People who use ChatGPT are clicking through to cited sources 2.3 times more than they are on Google.
Hi there and welcome to From Ideas to Results. I'm joined by Kitty from our content team here at Sleep and Drive Video. I'm going to be diving into all the things happening in the world of content. Kicking off, we're seeing some interesting things when it comes to click-through rate, particularly with Google versus things like ChatGPT. So can you give us a bit of insight into what we're talking about there?
So there's been a recent study that shows that people who use ChatGPT are clicking through to cited sources 2.3 times more than they are on Google, which is leading to this kind of naming of Google as a bit of a walled garden. So it wants to keep people on the search engine results pages. A similar study's shown that in the AI overview results, about 40% of those links that are cited link back to Google-owned properties, keeping people in the same area rather than encouraging them to go and explore content for themselves. So that's kind of what brands are up against now in terms of click-through rates.
Big impact for content producers and themselves in terms of actually spending a lot of time creating content, then not see necessarily the direct benefit from that.
On that, I guess at the moment it's the kind of the quantity versus quality thing. So recently Google's kind of responded to these studies and claims saying that yes, although click-through rate is lower, the quality of the clicks that are actually going through is much higher. The results that are showing in AI overviews are really closely aligned to the search. The people who are actually then clicking on those results have an intent that's really closely matched to that content, so they're more likely to convert when they're on those pages.
And what's your thoughts on that?
I think it can be two things at once. I think, yes, Google needs to respond to it in some way because otherwise it will look bad. But also I think there is merit in the fact that people who are bothering to click through once, even though all this information is in front of them, they will be more likely to scroll down on a page, spend more time on a page. So yeah, I think it can be two things at once.
And we should ultimately see this out in terms of actually overall performance. If there's still a finite number of transactions that are happening, we should still see that as a kind of an outcome, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think now would be a good time for your kind of data and tracking teams to get a better hold on, even though click-through rates are lower, how are people spending time on the page that are still coming through? So are there more form fills? Make sure you're really able to track that more so than ever if you want to prove that people are still clicking through.
And you touched upon ChatGPT, and there's a lot more people clicking through from their search version compared to Google's search version. But it's still very low traffic in comparison to Google. So we still got to focus, although it's great, and we should be also working on other engines and kind of looking at how we optimize for those. Google's still the dominant player in the market.
Yes, Google is still the dominant player in the market. I think GPT has about 80% of AI engine search traffic, so that's the kind of Google of the AI world. But yes, Google is still seeing way more traffic than GPT because that's how people are used to searching. I think also as we see things like Google's AI mode, which is now launched in the US, might launch in the UK, which is basically turning Google into a GPT kind of search engine. Like it might just continue to be Google because it's giving users what GPT is now giving them, I suppose.
Taking all that into consideration, what do people need to be doing differently? Is there anything that they need to approach differently in order to optimize based on some of these challenges that we're seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they weren't already considering kind of AI summarization in their content, they need to be doing that. So we always say optimize for EAT as long as you provide verifiable kind of evidence of experience and stuff. But now basically your content needs to be doing two things because there's two competing places where that traffic can go. So it needs to be understood by users and memorable to them, having a human resonance. But on the other side, it needs to be organized in a very structured way so that AI agents and engines can collect it, retrieve it, reproduce it.
Lots of things happening in the world of content, as you can see. So if you found that useful and if you'd like to check out more content, do check out our socials and our website. And that's it from us, and we'll see you again next time.